I'm not gonna lie, before I listened to this new Kendrick album, I had like Blue Lips and Almighty Soul 2 was like my 2 albums of the year for different reasons, obviously. I'm Chicago, so Q had like a real like rap rock sound that was like super unique and something I ain't heard since like Rebirth from Lil Wayne, funny enough. But it's like way better, if that makes sense. But after these first couple listens to this Kendrick album, and you know, Almighty Soul 2 is, I'm from Chicago. But after these first couple listens to Kendrick album, I really don't have a choice but to put it up there too. So let's talk about it. Forever, but sometimes we seem to disagree. Pray that you protect her and increase my sympathy. I'm a mini you, one day I'll have a mini me. I'm your son, I shouldn't treat you like an enemy. I get annoyed when you point out all my tendencies. It's funny, cause I never really like super resonated with the West Coast sound. Like I fuck with Snoop. Pac is cool. I wasn't the biggest fan of Pac. Ice Cube is cool, but he ain't really got no choice because his name is. No, never mind. My fault. I'm not the hugest Eazy-E fan. DJ Quick is cool, and I started listening to E40 as a joke. Actually, I started listening to E40 as a joke in the beginning because he just be rapping funny as hell sometimes. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, I take a little bit of time. Ooh, what do you say? In the hood, you know I'm hot like left sink handle. Nigga, you soft as table butter, margarine. Ooh, like he's just funny as hell. You feel me? Like no offense, obviously, but it's funny that I actually like started to like his music after listening to it with that intent at first. It's kind of funny, but overall, I'm not gonna sit here and act like the West Coast sound was just like my favorite. I'm a 25-year-old Chicago nigga. I grew up listening to drill music, so I resonated with Chicago music, obviously, and like Midwest music, like Eminem and shit too. But I like really like the East Coast sound. Like when I be on my like student of the game arc and shit like that, when I primarily go back and like go to older niggas, I go back to niggas like Nas, Biggie, Big L, Hove, etc. Long story short, I've always preferred like the hard, like boom bap, East Coast rap sound. It really doesn't make sense for me to like this album as much as I do, with the exception of like 4 songs, because this album is so unapologetically like West Coast is crazy. But let's go through the tracks. Whacked Out Murals kind of fooled me, cause I thought that this was gonna be like the tone of the entire album. This song sounds like that same like y'all, I'm done being me, I'm done trying to save niggas and be nice about it kind of energy that Kendrick had on Watch the Party Die. But like way more energetic, and it gives you like that real stank face energy, cause this song is raw as hell. This beat raw as hell too. I'm glad that I listened to this album on my studio setup and my studio monitors and my subwoofer, cause man, this beat is raw, fuck. It's like he did the same shit with N95 on Mr. Morale, where he just picked a hard ass beat out of nowhere at the beginning of the album. That Lil Wayne line into the beat drop made me stand there like I just got an and one for like Squidward after he broke the tent. And I like the message he said towards the end. I think he was like niggas cackling about, and then he like cut it off. But I think we can safely assume we was talking about Drake here. But then he proceeded to say like, but all y'all niggas on trial. Really hitting that, hey, I know yo ass ain't laughing, like type shit for that kind of shit. I like the energy. I'm not no like tinfoil hat, conspiracy theory type nigga, we're living in the Matrix and the world's ending ass nigga. I'm not one of them. But I do think it's some real dastardly shit going on in the behind the scenes of Hollywood, folk. Behind like the highlights of the lifestyle that Hollywood provides. And I feel like, just like Cat Williams said, that this is a year of truth, and shit gonna come to the light, and the niggas that's gonna bring it to the light can't be nice about it or tiptoe around it. And that's essentially like the message of this entire song. I'm not gonna lie, I've heard a lot of COVID bars since 2020, and I haven't been a fan of a lot of them. Damn near any of them. But I think I heard one nigga say, he was like, COVID only 19, it ain't grown yet. What that nigga on SpongeBob say, boo, you stink! Garbage ass line. But the Kendrick bar was cool because like we dead ass didn't handle that shit properly. Like that I'm doing what COVID did, they'll never get over it, speaks volume to all the 6 niggas in Hollywood. Like he's trying to do to Hollywood what COVID-19 did to the world, essentially. And I think that's actually a pretty decent bar. Like it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's probably the best COVID bar out there. I'm gonna keep it a bean. This song is amazing in my opinion. It's a perfect way to start the album. I'm just gonna lump all like the West Coast style songs together because they all kind of speak to me in the exact same way. But we're gonna primarily talk about Squabble Up, but this is like all of them. We're including all of them in this entry. Squabble Up was a super anticipated song, and niggas kind of already knew it was gonna be a hit after he slapped that bitch on the beginning of the Not Like Us video. And
it just did what it was supposed to do. It's just a West Coast hit, like it sounded like it was gonna be. This sound is like addictive on this album. And like I said earlier, I wasn't the biggest fan when it really came to the classics that inspired this. So like, why is this so raw to me now? The last like modern West Coast style project that I can like really say that I enjoy, and this may sound crazy, but it was the Black Panther album with like SOB and all them niggas. Folks. The only thing that I can really think that can like explain it is like this version of the West Coast sound is modernized with like cleaner drums, more 808s, better engineering, and it is better overall quality and shit like that. Squabble Up is so tough. Not even just Squabble Up. Every West Coast style track, like bounce track on this bitch, are so raw. Like all of them are tough. It makes me want to go back and listen to these classics that inspired this that I wasn't too fond of through a different lens now. Squabble Up and pretty much every other West Coast style, like love letter song, it's just fun to listen to. If you're from Chicago, it's kind of like any of y'all from Chicago, it's like Old Chicago by 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭 when he was rapping on the Footwork song, but like on a bigger scale, to put it into perspective. The production has like the bounce and funk that West Coast music has always had, and these are just like hood anthems that the world can enjoy. And everyone isn't gonna like them either. I've already heard some bad stuff about this album. I like them though, shit. It makes me want to crip walk, but that shit means something that I don't know shit about. If I do crip walk, it's gonna be in the safety of my own house. So, I love all the West Coast songs though. So basically the majority of the album is what I'm saying. I really like how he's putting these younger acts on too from the West Coast to really push forward his like love for the youth and his West Coast culture and standing on the narrative that he's kind of doing with this whole album. I love Luther. Luther is a really chill listen. Obviously, like Kendrick doesn't have like Michael Jackson singing voice, obviously, but I like his singing. It doesn't really bother me. But it's really a whole ass cheat code to just have SZA on the tuck like that. It's like Kendrick has like two like more grounded and softer songs on this album. One in Gloria and Luther. And when I heard SZA on both of them, I was like, that ain't fair. Like, that's not fair, nigga. Cause they basically just did a duet for damn near the whole song for Luther. And their voices really like complimented each other when they clashed and when they went like back and forth and shit. It sounds really good, folks. Especially with this majestic ass beat with these majestic ass violins in the background. Like, this shit was beautiful, gang. I love Luther so much. It's definitely gonna be a song that I put on repeat a lot. Man at the Garden. Man, okay, so it's gonna be a little personal. So Man at the Garden feels like affirmations in my opinion. So I think this song in particular is very therapeutic for me because I don't really give myself a lot of credit for really anything in life. And I kind of do that so I never get complacent, and I know it's unhealthy and yada, yada, yada. I've heard it all before. But anyway, it's like I'm listening to the exact opposite in this song. Kendrick is literally giving himself praise in this song, saying that he deserves every blessing and every good thing that came his way, basically. And I feel the more that I listen to this, the sooner I'll realize that, hey, maybe everything that I dream of and achieve so far is because of my hard work, and I should give myself more credit for what I've done. And I should dream bigger and believe more for what I haven't done yet, if that makes sense. The engineer side of me and the music maker side of me would not, like, forgive me if I didn't talk about the end of this motherfucker. Because, bro, when he started raising his voice, and then the kind of like dream-like sounding, slightly off-key sounding stacks came in, the engineer side of me went crazy. I was like, yo, I never thought of no shit like that. Like, that shit sounded so crazy to me. And if Ali mixed this, crazy, folks. He doing this shit, man. Creative mind for sure behind the boards. Like I said, this shit sounded so crazy to me. The sequence is so creative. I really love Man at the Garden. It's a really like cool song. It's like it reminds me of Count Me Out a little bit. Reincarnated sounds like a really big love letter to Tupac production wise. I like the message too. I'm not really sure who he's talking about in the first two verses and who he's like representing, but I do know he's confessing the sins of the two, and he says it like heavy drug use, manipulation line type shit, you know, all that shit, all the good shit. And he's reincarnating every verse essentially until he talked about his own life in the last one. And I really like the last verse. So the last verse reminds me of the last verse of, y'all ever heard of Eminem's Evil Deeds song where he's talking to like the devil? No, it's not Evil Deeds. It's My Darling. That's what the name of the song is, My Darling. Instead of talking to the devil like M was, Kendrick was talking to God, and God was essentially giving his judgment on Judgment Day while they were having a conversation. This is a really deep song, and I feel like I'll appreciate it a little bit more when I figure out who he's talking about and referring to in the first two stories. And if I actually like take time to learn their stories too, I'll like this song way more. But it's still a good song to me, in my opinion. Hard Part 6 is Shocker, another West Coast style song, but it's more of like the Today Was a Good Day kind of West Coast. Like the slower sound. It's basically the origin story of TDE and how it came to be. It's a really nice song, and it gives us a clear picture of these niggas' upbringing. Like how this like legendary rap group that we all know and love like met and how it came to be. And it feels like a credit song. You know how like people have those songs where they shout out everyone that worked on the album and shit. Like I think J. Cole has one. 1-800-NAS a hit on Nas Magic 3 album. I think that was it. It's a bunch of them everywhere. You probably heard one before. That's what this song feels like. But instead of album credits, these feel like credits for his entire career, which is actually really cool in my opinion. This is a really cool song. I love this song. Gloria is the last song on the album, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm still a little confused about who he's talking about. I thought he was talking about his girl, but after reading a couple of lyrics, it seemed like he talking about it seemed like the message is actually bigger than that. From what I read, he's talking about like a Spanish figure named Gloria that represents Gloria itself, and he just making it sound that way. Because Gloria like always been by his side through his past until now. I don't really get the message 100%, but from what I can comprehend and based off of my interpretation of it, it's a really good message and a really good song. And once again, having SZA on the tuck is a G code for songs like this. But overall, I think this is a pretty good album, gang. This nigga Kendrick really leaned in and put his foot down in this like whole, y'all, this the West Coast and you Hollywood niggas is weird. We ain't forget about you niggas. That kind of message. And he made me want to revisit the classic music that inspired this body of work because it's so good. But that's really all I got, man. As always, man, I hope you have a great day, man. I love y'all, man. Peace. Drive home safe, ladies and gentlemen.
Sometimes we seem to disagree. Pray that you protect the end that creates my sympathy. I'm a mini you, one day I'll have a mini me. I'm your son, I shouldn't treat you like an enemy. I get a no.